You guys will be live here in just a minute, but if you have any issues, let me know. And do I need to make someone else host?
I think with Bob and I discussed that. I think Aaron might end up leading the presentation. I think, is that right, Bob?
Yeah. And
yeah.
Well, Ken is, and Aaron's doing needs to be able to manipulate.
Can you make Shelby Mitchinson host as well as me? Is that possible to get two of them?
As far as I'm aware, I can only make one host.
Go ahead and make Shelby.
If I make Shelby host, they should be able to make you host if needed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Jan, I think you might be on mute.
Mine's not. Is it?
I can hear.
You can hear me? I was gonna say if everybody mutes their mic, we won't get an echo.
Right.
It's a teacher thing.
I can mute all, but then you guys will have to unmute yourself. And we have one more joining. And then Shelby, right before the end of the meeting, just make me host again so I can stop our recording and take us off of YouTube, please. But I'll go ahead and make you host now. And if anyone else jumps in, just please admit them.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you guys should be good to go now.
Okay, thanks, Cameo. We'll need to do a roll call first, but appreciate everybody joining again. Somewhat disappointed we had to meet via Zoom, but this might be the best way to stay safe at this point in time. Hopefully, in a few months, we can be all joining together in Jonesboro. But we'll play it safe for now. And I was talking to Bob a little bit about this. It's just, this is a pretty thick packet we all got to read over, and a lot of important information in there. But I'm sure Aaron and Bob will update us all well. And hopefully, when we're done here, we'll get approval of the schematic design and just keep moving forward. Everything still can be, tweaked as we move forward, but continue to make progress is important. And from just reading over this packet, really impressed with the work that Clark Nexton team is doing, and really the amount of feedback that Bob is going out and searching, and the cooperation from the school personnel is just outstanding. So really appreciate all that effort. We'll do a roll call now. Just say present. We got Whitney.
Present.
We got Mike.
Present.
We got Jan. And we got Jody.
Here.
And Mary Beth. Is Laura Cusick joined us yet?
Present.
Here. Okay, see her there now. Brian Barnett.
Present.
Okay, Joe Grandy. Okay, not intense. Then we got Dr. Flannery.
Present.
Okay, I think I hit all the voting members. I think if I missed someone, please let me know. But we do have, Tommy Burleson and Chad Robison and Philip Patrick here on as well. So appreciate them participating because they are valuable members. And first little housekeeping thing I need to do, since we're meeting electronically, and to conduct this meeting electronically, I need someone to make a motion to establish this meeting as an essential function of government under the governor's order. May I have that motion, please?
So moved.
I got Jody makes a motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Whitney got the second there, I think. Okay, we'll make we have to do a roll call vote on this as well. Jody, you made the motion.
Yes.
Okay. And Whitney?
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jan, Mary Beth, and Laura,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and Dr. Flannery. All right, I think I got him in there. Okay, we're all here and present, I think, except for Joe. I'm sure he sometimes joins us a little bit late, but hopefully he pops in here. Okay, our first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our October 28th meeting. Has anybody got any comments about those minutes, any changes? If not, we'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve.
Okay, got a motion to approve. Have a second,
Second.
please.
Second.
And we have a second. And unfortunately, we got to go through the roll call again. If I'm not mistaken, Jim, is that right, Jim?
That is correct, Mayor.
Okay. All right, Whitney,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jan. All right, Jody,
Yes.
Mary Beth, Laura,
Yes.
Brian, and Dr. Flannery.
Yes.
All right, very good. I don't know if you all heard, but I've not heard Jan and Mary Beth. I know they've been making the motion there, but make sure we get your microphone off mute when you speak. So if you got something to say, we can hear it. Bob, do you have something to say there? You're on mute, Bob.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Who seconded that motion? I'm sorry. I didn't see who seconded the motion for on the minutes.
I did.
That was Mike. Okay, I think we got that out of the way. Again, one thing I think is important, especially this meeting, because there's a lot of information in here. Via Zoom, sometimes it's easy, I think, just to feel like you can't get your question or make a comment. Just make sure, just because we're on Zoom, if you've got a question or comments, that you make the effort to be heard. And let's have just as much communication during this Zoom meeting as we would if we're in person. I love to get good feedback, positive and negative. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Aaron and his team.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. I believe Ken is going to open this up.
All right. We're glad that everyone couldn't meet, but even though it's by Zoom, we'll try to go through this and give you our presentation. We're not going to go into a lot of great detail on some things that haven't changed, but we will show you a few things that we have changed and revised to make it even better. So this is the Jonesboro School schematic design. Okay, our project goals are the same as what we had before, and they're dictating the design that we especially just want it to be fit in with Jonesboro and be up to date with 21st century learning, and have outdoor teaching spaces that can be used, and also involve the community-based learning programs, a good, safe learning environment, and be sure that we spend the money wisely on the school. We think we're doing that at this point. The table of contents here, everyone should have received all of these documents with the architectural outline specs and clarification memos and structural, mechanical, plumbing, fire protection, and electrical narratives. And there's really 45 sheets of drawings that we have provided already for the schematic design. And those sheets are very large sheets. They're 42 inches by 30 inches in actual size. And this also lists the design team. And in order for us to get the design that we did, we've met with a lot of people like Dr. Flannery, people from the town of Jonesboro, teachers, Jordan Hughes, who is a principal at the Boones Creek School, recreation people, nutritionists, Philip Patrick, Burleson Construction, our engineers, and quite a few to get to where we are. We're not going to go through all of those 45 sheets, but we'll highlight a few things from some of them. Can you go to the next one, Shelley?
Yes, yeah. They're seeing the wrong.
Okay, this is the north facade exterior rendering that I think we showed you last time. Helps you to see the shape of the building and trying to copy the downtown of Jonesboro, the way the buildings are offset and some taller than others. And we tried to incorporate that. And the shape is good. We're still working on some of the details to work out things like brick patterns and the cornice detail at the top. And we'll be developing those as we go into the design development. Next. This is the courtyard rendering that we've shown you before to show that the courtyard will be used for activities, teaching spaces, learning spaces. And those are not weeds that you're seeing that it's overgrown with weeds, but we're using sustainable design, which Jonesboro has done a remarkable job in using. And we intend to use sustainable design in landscaping for the school. Next. This is the Great Hall view that you've seen before. Just to give you a little input on the elevated section there, we're actually calling it similar to a courthouse steps like you would see at the courthouse downtown. We've gotten feedback from like Jordan Hughes, the principal at Boones Creek School, and from other schools, and they have high praise for that aspect of the design. They use it for a lot of events, and it can also be used for after hours or for the community use. You might notice the colored pieces at the top of the bleacher or the courthouse steps. Those are acoustical panels. We will be using acoustics in this area so that you can have an event there even during school hours without it bothering the rest of the school. This is the overall site plan. We're just now getting into developing it, but we wanted to show you this is the basic layout that we'll be using with the school, the parking, the access, the athletic fields, the agricultural building, the trails and so forth. And we're very happy to let you know that at this point, there are no retaining walls at all in the development of the site. And also, it's probably a little difficult to see, but we did rework the entrance drop-off drive to line up directly in front of the front door. So we're now getting ready to go into full development of the site plan in this next phase. This is the overall first floor plan of the building. We wanted to show you this one. It's a little more difficult maybe for you to read, but we wanted to show you what goes into a working type drawing of the floor plan with the column lines on it, dimensions on it, section marks, elevation marks, and so forth. So we're just showing you this to show you how we develop the floor plan as we get into the hardcore drawings. We will be able to explain it a little further when we get to the colored floor plans in a few minutes. They're a little simpler to read. This is the overall second floor plan with the same markings on it to just show you what we're putting on the floor plan drawings when we put it out for bidding. This is the exterior elevations of the building. Again, it's a little more difficult to read than the colored renderings, but again, it just shows we put the column spacing and the bays, we put dimensions, we put additional information that helps the builders when they look at it to be able to price it and see what sizes everything is. This is the overall first floor plan. and it's in color. It's a little easier to read. Since our last meeting, we were able to remove 8 feet from each classroom wing. That saved 2,000 square feet. So now, instead of having 143,000 square feet, we now have 141,000 square feet. In a few moments, we'll show you how we were able to do that and still keep the same teaching spaces in these classrooms. But this is what the overall floor plan looks like on the first floor. We tweaked it somewhat, and we'll show you more of that when we get to the enlarged sections.
Hey, Ken, you're reducing that square footage that much? I think it said in here we started at 147,000 square feet, and now we've trimmed that down to about 6,000 square feet. How much does that roughly end up saving us?
It's difficult to say till we get all of the numbers in, but it saved us quite a bit of money. It probably saved us close to $1 million to $1.5 million, somewhere in that area.
That's what I was thinking. That's great.
And again, this is the second floor wing. Overall floor plan shows how we tweaked it, and it shows the same savings, because when you save it on the first floor, you also save it on the second floor. We wanted to talk a little bit about the classroom comparison. The one on the left was Boones Creek School. And first of all, I want to say this in no way is being critical of Boones Creek School. We're just using it as a comparison because it's the last school that was built in Washington County, and it is an excellent school and an excellent design. We're just trying to see where we could save money in some sizing and sizes. And if you'll notice on the left, that has 983 total square feet, and you have 790 square feet of teaching area. We reworked it to the one on the right that is now 897 square feet total area, but the teaching space went up to 797 square feet of teaching area. The reason that we could do that is that the HVAC closets or rooms that we had on the left next to the toilets, we were able to eliminate those with the HVAC system that we have. We also took out the wall at the cubbies so that those cubbies could be right directly into the classroom. And without having a wall there, we gained some space, and it allows the instructor or the teacher to observe that more closely instead of letting them get behind the wall. And something else that helped us in reducing the space is the thickness of the walls. By going to the drywall system, metal studs and drywall, our walls are not quite as thick as those with the masonry. So all of that being combined, we were able to reduce square footage and yet have more teaching space, the same amount of storage space. And we also gained a little space by the individual toilets opening into each room rather than opening into a little access way or a hallway for the toilets. We feel this is a very good design that helped us to reduce the square footage.
Hey, Ken, let me add something to that. When we talk about like eliminating the, that separate space for the cubbies, we've had a number of conversations with Jordan Hughes. That was one of the things that she mentioned, that there were teachers that really didn't have sight distance and didn't know who was in, who else's cubby and this kind of thing. And it was a problem with kids going in there. So eliminating that space where you really couldn't see what was happening in it, there's also a safety measure and a control measure within the classroom.
That's a good point, Rob. Thank you for that.
Well, Ken, let me say, and your whole team there, it's these type things that really shoot is just impressive. But switching to that damage proof or damage resistant drywall, does that have some acoustic positives as well? Because I know when walking through some of these schools that are mostly cinder block, it just seems like the sound echoes. Is this drywall system really going to improve in that area?
Yes, it will increase the acoustic value of the classrooms. And we also are putting insulation in those walls to even help further with the acoustic value. So we have improved the acoustic value.
I love that.
This is the classroom, first floor, the first and second grade units. As you can see, they're very simple. We did do a layout of the desks, just show that they fit. We will work with the teachers as we get further into it about the exact arrangement of the desks and the teacher's desk and so forth, but just to show you that it works. The spaces are pretty similar now, except we refined them, improved them. And we did put the corridor in the middle there going to the courtyard. And that will help the teachers or administration to be able to cut through to the other wing on the other side without having to go all the way around the building. This area is the administration, the gym, and the media center. Is there any way to lower that a little bit so they can see all of it? It's cut off a little bit. We apologize for that. A couple of things you might notice that we've done is we split the bleacher area in the gym on the left-hand side and put a corridor access there. That keeps everyone from having on that side going the full length of the bleachers to get out and putting all of the traffic on the lower access that we have. And we also, it's difficult to see from here, but you can see that there's now 2 sets of doors that go in from the lobby into the gym instead of the 1 set, which will break up the congestion. We also centered the media center with the area straight across with the auxiliary gym and the stage so that that's all centered. And in the locker area, we went to 2 locker areas instead of the other additional ones we had. And talking with the recreation people, they felt that's all that was needed. And we were able to add a weight room, which was not on there before, and improve the circulation quite a bit. So we feel like we really improved this area. The band room, instead of a separate room, will be used as the stage, which is the light blue on the right-hand side there. That will be used as the band room and also a stage for performances in the auxiliary gym, and it will be separated at this point with a folding or removable type wall system that is acoustical. And if the scheduling is such that the band would not overlap with the auxiliary gym usage, we wouldn't need that wall. We could get by with a curtain, but we will work on that as we get further into the design. And then the gray area to the right of the auxiliary gym is that area there is the receiving area that they can receive the paper goods and things of that sort for the school. Next. This is the wing with the cafeteria and dining and some of the related arts area. We have met with the nutritionists and we met with the media lab people. We will meet with them to refine it and get the exact equipment layout and what they want in it. We think we've improved that and we're able to reduce it. And also the media lab that you see there in that purplish blue will also double as a community-based learning room, which helped us to get some of the square footage out instead of having a separate space for it. Next. And then this is the first floor of the CDC and kindergarten area. Pretty much the same, except refined to reduce some square footages. And you can see the corridor in the center of the upper section that opens to the courtyard that allows administration of the teachers to get over to that area cutting through the courtyard instead of going all the way around if there's an emergency or they're needed there. And again, each wing had 8 feet removed from it. Next.
This is the second one.
Okay, second floor of the 3rd and 4th grade. Again, you can see how simply it's working out, how well it's working. And again, basically, we're just saying that we've simplified it, improved it, and took 8 feet out of that wing, each wing. This is the over the administrative and gym area. And this has the science and the 5th grade classrooms there. And we were able to improve this and make it look simpler and better here also.
Hey, Ken,
Yes.
do you mind if we stop right here and just ask any of the members if they've got any feedback on anything they've seen so far?
Sure, that'd be fine.
Okay, members, does anyone have a comment or a question or anything on what you've seen so far?
I've got a question. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I've had issues with audio before. I know we talked 2 or 3 meetings ago about the possibility of moving concessions to where people that are working concessions can actually see ball games and stuff like that. Have you guys looked into possibly doing that with any of these designs and updates that you played with?
Thus far, we haven't been able to work that out. That's a very difficult thing to do. The one thing they might be able to do is, if you'll go back, Shelby, and pull up the gym and administration area slide. Okay, right now the concessions are behind the bleachers, but if they could, when the game is started and there's no one there, they could actually step out into the access right there and down below and there to watch the games and still be able to watch the concession area. That's the only way we've been able to work it thus far. It's hard to get a direct visual contact into the gym with the concessions and have it outside so it doesn't congest the gym itself. But we will continue to look at it, but at least they can watch the games from those 2 access points.
Hey, Brian, I want to add something to that. We did ask the 2 athletic directors, Danny Good and Josh Kite, about that issue. And their comment was that most of the time it's the kids that are in, that they said that they had the students in there running the concession stand. So, I mean, that was the feedback. They didn't see, when we talked to them about it, they didn't see that it was that much of a concern. And they said, a lot of times they just have students in there that aren't paying attention to it anyway. So
That's not, I can tell you right now, that's not accurate. Laura can back me up on this. We have trouble. I mean, we're having trouble right now just with the basketball season, getting parents to run concessions, mainly because they cannot see anything.
Okay.
You don't let 11, 12-year-olds run your concession stand. That might be the case in high school, but not in middle school.
Okay, I'm just telling you, that was the conversation we had.
They don't, no, that's not correct.
Okay.
That's when the end user sometimes knows a little bit more. I'm sure
Right.
been there.
They don't see what we see in middle school. They spend their time in high school.
I've always thought that might be one of the hardest things, because where the concession needs to be located in an open area where people can kind of congregate. And we can keep looking. It could be that you have some type of video system in there to where if a parent is in there, they could watch it on video or something. Much like I know when you go to a game at Neyland Stadium or somewhere like that, you can pretty well watch the game when you're at the concession or restroom area or something. So maybe it has to be addressed that way if we can't find a suitable location like that.
I will mention that if anyone has any super ideas that would work and not add a lot of space to the building, we would be glad to look at that if you just get that information to us. We'd love to accommodate everybody as much as we can. Just sometimes we're a little bit restricted.
Right. I don't know what the square footage is. Just looking at that, is that weight? I can't read it on my screen. Is that the weight room on the bottom left corner at the top? Right.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. Does that say weights?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because the only thing I can think of, the way the court is, the only place that it could even go would be down there near where that second locker room is, because you would want your line to go to the left of the bleachers there. I don't know if the storage and weight room and all that could be moved to where the concessions are. I don't know how difficult that would be or how much room you would have there. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing we have to keep in mind is if you put it there, that's only 10 feet or so. That's or 12 we get real congestion blocking our exit way out of the building. It's when everybody goes for concessions.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't realize that was that wide there. I agree with that.
Hey, Brian, just out of curiosity, if there was a camera that got set up to where that, there was a monitor in the concession stand, would that help bridge that gap?
I mean, I know for me, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know for me, I would be okay with that. I mean, we've started streaming the games from Jonesboro, and I mean, I know several, we're only, I don't know if you're aware, we're only allowed to have 2 individuals per player come to the games right now because of COVID. So, I mean, I've got several family members. I got one that told me, he'd rather stay at home and watch it anyway, just because it's, I mean, the stream quality when it's there has been good. So, I mean, if it was something, that where that TV was hooked up to the internet or whatever, to where, it could be streamed that way, I mean, I would imagine that'd be better than them sitting behind a wall or having to walk out in the hallway. Because if you've never worked concessions, having to walk out in the hallway to catch a few moments of a game and then coming back and all that it's not realistic to really do that.
Well, that may be something that we could explore, just looking at a way to do a good video of the game and have it be able to see it from the concession stand. It might help just to know when there's breaks and stuff like that as well, if you're inside the concession.
We will look at that and see what solutions we can come up with.
Hey, Ken, is there still storage underneath those bleachers? I know that was something I think
yes,
you talked about.
That area there with the arrows, that's still storage right there, in addition to what's on the other side, down in the locker room areas.
Very good.
Okay, let's go back, Shelby, to the second floor of the 5th grade in science. Yeah, there. Okay, this is, again, over the administration office and so forth in the gym. We were able to add some space for storage. Shelby, if you could point to that gray right there. We gained another large storage room that was not there before, and we're able to work that in. So that's a bonus storage area for the school. We did move all the science rooms to utilize the space above the media center for those green science rooms. Okay, the next one. This is the second floor of the 6th grade classrooms, and it's fairly similar to what we had before, just refined somewhat, and showing you how it lays out. And then this is the 7th and 8th grade classroom layout with the different usages that we have there. That works very well, and we think everyone will be happy with that. We only made a few minor adjustments when we cut the 8 foot out of each wing. Now, we hurried through that to make it brief so we didn't tie everybody down with all of the details. We hope everyone got a chance to look at the documents that were sent out. We had hoped if we had a live meeting, we were going to bring a large set of the documents so you could see it and thumb through it. But as you look at it, if you have questions, feel free to give us a call. At this point, if we get the approval for the schematic design, then our next steps will move into design development. That's where we will start doing things like refining the brick details on the outside and selecting the exact materials for the finishes, doing the landscaping, the athletic facilities and courtyard, and all of the different systems, structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We'll start refining those. And then we will have additional meetings. We have met with a lot of people, but we will continue to meet with people like the art and music teachers, the librarian, CDC, technology, Curtis Fulbright, and all of the others, and try to improve the kitchen equipment layout and confirm the details of the scope document that we've sent everyone. So those are our next steps, and we are always open to any suggestions that you have or any questions that you have. If everyone's not happy with it when we finish, then we're not happy with it. So we're trying to satisfy as many people as we can and try to keep everything working within the budget and within the scope that we have. So those are our next steps. And if there's any other questions, we'll be glad to answer them. And then we would like to maybe get a vote, if we could, Mayor, of approval of the schematic design that we have presented. Just keep in mind, as we refine it, there will be little changes in it as we go through, but this is the basic concept for the schematic design that we have completed.
All right, thanks, Ken. Yeah, if anyone has any additional questions or some comments, now would be the time for that. But there was, one thing that I want to point out, that just reading through the narrative that they sent out, it says, our goal is to create an educational facility that is totally functional when the staff moves in. I think that's really key, and I appreciate the effort to get feedback from the staff there at Boones Creek and some of the other schools, because we do have that luxury to see how it's in action today and make those changes now. And it says the administrative staff should not have to spend a tremendous amount of time retrofitting rooms. I think it looks like I will call it smart designs in the classrooms to reduce the square footage yet make the space more efficient is just that's something we should be doing. So I appreciate that, Ken and the team. Has anyone else got any comments or questions?
I've got something.
Mary Beth?
Yes, I just wanted to say I'm glad that they addressed the issue of soundproofing between classrooms. I was kind of concerned about that, but it sounds like they've got everything under control as far as between the block and the sheetrock, but it sounds like it's going to be good. So glad they touched on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth, for pointing that out. It is, to me, that's huge. Walking through the Boones Creek School and just hearing the echoes, I'm thinking, man, how could you'd really have to have a hard time learning in some of those places, and having this drywall and the acoustic improvements is going to be a plus for a Jonesboro school. Someone else? Jan?
I would just like to say thank you for the additional footage in the art room, if that comes to be. Any square foot that could be added to that is going to be a plus, as far as being able to bring in potter's wheels and all that kind of thing.
Thanks, Jan. Anyone else? Bob, you have anything you want to add there?
No, not really. I tried to make sure that we hit the major issues in the, in what went out. I don't think I heard Ken say, and I think we talked about it at the last meeting, that we, in those K through 2 rooms that have bathrooms, we changed the format of that, which also saves some space because they're not shared with the adjoining classroom anymore. And there's much more, again, security in terms of who's going in and out of those. And the teachers weren't allowing the kids from the other, if they knew that another class was in there, there was a kid from another class in there, they had to rig up their own system to let the teachers had to let each other know who was in there. And it was taking time. They had to click on a light to let them know it was being occupied. So we think that we made a really good improvement in that area as well, and also saved some space.
I agree, Bob. And one of the best things we heard was that really making the space more efficient to reduce that size of the building. It's starting off with the savings that we might end up needing at the end of the day of over $1 million, probably minimum, on the saving 7,000 square feet. So really appreciate that kind of effort there. Bob?
It is a big deal. And also, we say this, I think at every meeting, but it's true. We're getting a great deal of cooperation from the school system staff. Dr. Flannery has some really sharp people, and we greatly appreciate their willingness to spend a lot of time with us, and the feedback that we've got from them has been very professional and very thoughtful. And we're relying that kind of feedback to make this school something really special. And we're just very appreciative of the cooperation.
Well, Bob, you're certainly right. When you talk about sharp people with school personnel, you can't go much past Whitney and Mike right there. We heard from Mary Beth. Whitney, you and Mike have any comments about what you've seen so far?
I think it's looking really good. And again, I appreciate the minimizing of space. The savings will generate there, but the maximum teaching room there, I think it looks really good. One thing I had one question about the gym at the top of the picture on it. Would that be a good idea to put another exit door there, kind of at the front of the school?
I think Aaron's nodding his head right there, so I think they'll look at that.
Yeah, that is a good point. It would be nice to be able to potentially even enter the gym without having to go into the school building at all. It would be useful. So we can easily accommodate that. That's a good point, Whitney. Thank you.
Yes, I got to reiterate what Whitney said. Mary Beth, I think looks really good. Just very excited to get started on this project.
Thanks, Mike. You know, one thing, just reducing that square footage, yeah, that cuts down on the construction cost, but really that's going to pay dividends years to come, whether it's your heating and cooling cost, all of those things. That produces savings for our school system by reducing that square footage. So that's great. Anyone else? Jody?
I never pass up an opportunity to say something.
I was going to make you talk.
I think it looks great. What's even more music to my ears is just hearing all these different stakeholders coming together. I don't know if we really thought we could do that. And it's great. And the process has been great. You know, it's not like these drawings look radically different from the other times we've seen them. They've just gradually evolved, and you kind of know what you're going to see when you come. And the improvements have been just nice iterative improvements based on what we're recommending, and cost has been considered in every iteration. That's great from the county's perspective, and I'm excited to move forward.
Thanks, Jody. Brian, I know you and Laura brought up a good point about that concession stand. That'll be something I'm sure we'll look at, but at minimum, you probably have a video system in there of some type to make sure parents don't miss out on too much stuff. And does anyone else have a comment there? I see that down there it says Sherry. That might be Mayor Grandy theirs. If he's here, has he got any comments or anything? Okay, very good. Dr. Flannery, how about you?
I think it's time to break ground.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, we're hoping to make a move in that direction at some point here, so we'll tackle that challenge here soon. Mayor Grandy, did you have a chance to join us?
Yeah, Chuck, I appreciate all the hard work. I think we're definitely on the right track and making great progress. So appreciate all the hard work from the team.
Thanks, Joe.
Mayor, I will say that, I know that Tommy and his staff are working on pricing out. We would expect to have at the next meeting, some hopefully relatively accurate cost estimates in terms of where we are with the overall finances of the project.
Yeah, it'd be great to start spending some money on something other than legal. That'd be perfect.
Absolutely. All right. Has anyone got anything else? If not, we'll look to have somebody make a motion to approve the schematic design of the new Jonesboro School. That'll move us forward.
So moved.
I got that motion to approve the schematic design from Mary Beth.
I'll second it.
Second from Mike Masters. All right, very good. I'll go through the roll call again. Whitney? You say approve or no? So we'll make the roll call for the vote, Whitney.
He may be.
There you go, Whitney. I need a vote to approve the schematic design. He might not be getting us there. Let's move over to Mike.
Yes.
Jan? Jody?
Yes.
Mary Beth?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Dr. Flannery?
Yes.
Mayor Grandy?
Yes.
And we'll go back to Whitney. Whitney, I think you might be on mute, but you can wave your hand as a yes. All right, Whitney, do you approve the schematic design? All right, he's missing us. I think he would. All right, so I think that's carried.
Mayor, if you would, you might need to get, Miss Allen was muted. This is being recorded and probably need to make sure we get that vote verbally.
All right, Jan. Maybe move a little bit closer to the microphone there, Jan.
Hear me now?
Yeah.
Yay. Yes. It's a yes.
All right, very good. So Jim, that looked good? Looked like that was unanimous?
Yes, sir. Mr. Riddle's vote won't be recorded on the video, but maybe we can get some clarification on that later.
Okay. All right. Well, that takes care of that. Appreciate that. Now we'll just kind of move to the next item on the agenda is just the site planning update. I think Ken might have touched on that just a little bit, but Bob's, you and Ken want to address that?
Chuck, if I can interrupt you just a second. Whitney just texted me his microphone is not working, but his vote is yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
As far as the site plan is concerned, we just wanted you to know that we're continuing to work on that. You know, we're looking at the grading elevations and trying to make sure that when we go through and cost out the project, that we're reducing the cost as much as possible. So, you know, we're still looking at, you know, what kind of, you know, how the grading is going to work out. That's a big expense in the whole project. As Ken said, there's no retaining walls in the project. We're working hard to do that. You know, other than we have moved playground space that was in the courtyard, we have moved that out and trying to develop an overall sort of a playground complex that's on the east side of the school. That does a couple of things. It takes it out of the, you know, we had a number of school personnel, you know, talk about the problems of more active recreational use within the courtyard being a distraction to other classrooms, you know, and you know, with there's a real need to have light coming through the windows, but you know, you also don't want to distract the kids at the same time. We think that courtyard space can be pretty spectacular, and you know, we're going to be working on some landscape design concepts, you know, that have some educational components to it with that within that courtyard. But there's also you know, a community use factor involved in the playgrounds, and typically the playgrounds are not funded through the school system. So you know, we're looking at some overall design components of the playground so that we can do some estimates and have a look at what the space needs are going to be, and at the same time develop maybe a strategy for raising money for playground equipment. So we're trying to pay attention to that at the same time. And then, you know, we'll hopefully maybe at the next meeting, we wanted to focus on the school, but we're you know, we're also looking at the major components of the overall site, and we can have an additional discussion about that at the next meeting. I'm pretty sure it'll be the next meeting that we'll be ready to do that.
Thanks, Bob. I think for me, just looking over the site plan and the athletic side, the landscaping and those type things, it looks to me like it's heading in the right direction too. I think we might have discussed it some with Todd Wood and some others, just, making sure the position of the baseball, softball fields are positioned to where, they're not impacted by sunset and the sun and things like that, which that's probably minor at the end of the day.
We have had discussions about that, and we're trying to look at that at the same time. And like I said, our focus was to try to get as far along as we could on the schematic design of the building so that we can start detailing that out.
Okay, I like it. Anybody got any comments on any of that that they've seen about the site plan?
Oh, I've got a comment.
Okay, Mary Beth.
Oh, I really like to hear that you moved the playground out from that courtyard, because that courtyard can be something very nice and something that's really going to make the school special. And yes, I agree with Bob. The noise, the factor, and distractions are going to be, that's good news. Thank you.
We are trying to listen.
Okay. Good.
Very good. And I think bringing the school down slightly too, to me, it moved that one exit point, I guess beyond the western side of the building. It moved it, further south away from the circle. To me, that probably makes it just a little bit safer, having that exit a little bit lower down North Cherokee too.
I've got a question.
Okay, Brian.
I realize this is all preliminary, but is there a reason that the soccer football field is not centered in the track?
I can answer that one. It had to do, at least at this point in time, and again, we're saying it's preliminary, but the reason it was in there was a grading issue with the track, trying to get to the track at 40 meters. And if it was if it was centered in the football field, it would take away from the track itself, would take away from the space with the smaller soccer fields on the west side. And there was space that was going to be on the east side of the football fields that was not really as usable space, as important or as accessible to the students. So it was trying to get the overall length of the track in there, but not take away from, that track takes up, even as a practice track, takes up a lot of space. So we were trying to not sacrifice the usable smaller soccer fields and practice field space that is on the west side of the football field. We can continue to look at that, but that's the reason it's the way it is.
I think you might be talking about there. It's the track's probably in the right position. It's probably just the way it's drawn up. The football field is slightly to the left.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah,
it probably is centered.
I may have misunderstood.
Yeah, the football field itself inside the track is, to the left. It's not centered. Is that just preliminary? Is that a plan, or is there a reason for that?
Well, what I'm saying is that what we ended up doing, and what Todd Wood ended up doing, was taking the football field and the soccer fields, that the smaller soccer fields, and the practice field, and trying to put those in place. And then when you overlay the track around the football field, we wanted to get more length in the track so that it was the proper length, so that 400 meters around, and we needed additional length in the track. And rather than move to the west into those, taking up space where those smaller soccer fields were, we moved it to the east, where there was where that space was less usable and would have less of an impact on the other fields. So that's the reason. We can continue to look at that, but we haven't done anything with that in a couple of months, but that was the reason that it was done that way to begin with. And I don't know if I'm being clear on it. It was trying to get the length.
We can talk to. I'm sorry, Bob. I was just saying we could talk to Todd Wood and see if there's a reason that we couldn't go ahead and center the field within the track. There may be a grading reason, and I'm just looking at the grading plan now. on my other screen here, and it looks like you might be able to shift it. So we'll look into that for you, Brian.
Yeah.
Well, your track and your football field's all going to be on the same plane, same level. So I would think that that's just a
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I mean, it's all the same.
Yeah.
And the only reason I asked that is because I know a lot of times football and soccer both, we use what is on each end of the end zone or what have you, for warming up and stuff like that, and having plenty of room back there would be great, especially like when, because I imagine football and soccer is going to be combined, and those two, the girls' season and the football season overlaps, and having space to warm up is crucial for soccer, because football is always practicing while soccer is getting ready to get a game on. And another problem we have is the goals and where to put them during football games, and also when they're mowing, because you don't want the goals out on the field ruining the field.
Yeah, and let me add something to that. The other thing that's not shown on the plan was when we talked to athletic directors, they were talking about, shot puts and high jump and other stuff like that, that would sort of go within the track space. And that was the other thing. There's a plan preliminary plan that had some of those items that were in the necessary for track competition that would, or at least practice anyway, that would have been in between the football field and the end of the track on the east.
That might explain that space at the end there, Brian. So
yeah, I bet that's what that, and that makes total sense. I understand that.
Okay, well, good. All right, anybody else? All right, well, I appreciate the update on the site plan, and the approval of the schematic design. Really, really excited. Next thing is just to discuss our next meeting. And Bob, I think is that January 27th. Is that what we're looking at, or is there any reason?
We would be shooting for the normal date, and maybe things will be better with this virus and we can meet in person. But we are trying to be sensitive to that, everybody's health, and it's not really good around here at this point.
What is that? You said the date. I said January 27th. I got it. I'll make sure my calendars are not all mixed up in my meetings. What is our regular?
It probably would help us if it was assuming that if it's the 27th, if that's the last Wednesday of the month, whether it's the 4th or 5th, it would be better to have it the last Wednesday.
Yeah, it's the 27th of January.
Okay. Is that okay with people?
We'll just plan on that, and if anything changes, we'll address it. But we'll plan on January 27th, and I think Tommy will be working on the crunching the numbers, and hopefully we'll have some continued positive news. All right. If there's no other comments, we will adjourn the meeting. And again, thanks everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Thanks,
right. Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Cameo.
Hey, Shelby, I need you to make me host again.
I guess so.
Thank you.